Hello guys. So let's continue the previous the topic which was left in previous class. The Pala rulers also had close cultural relations with Tibet. The Pala rulers also had cultural relations with Tibet. The noted Buddhist scholars Santa Rakshita and Deepankara called Atisa Buddhist scholar Santa Rakshita and Deepankara were invited to Tibet and they introduced a new form of Buddhism. As a result, many Tibetan Buddhists flocked to the universities of Nalanda and Vikramasila for study. Although Palas were supporters of Buddhism, they also extended their patronage to Shaivism and Vaishnavism. They gave grants to large number of Brahmins from North India who flocked to Bengal. Their settlements helped in the extension of cultivation in the area and the transformation of many pastoralists and food gatherers to settle down to cultivation. The growing prosperity of Bengal helped in extending trade and cultural contacts with countries of Southeast Asia, Burma, Malaya, Java, and Sumatra, etc. So they also had, along with the following Buddhism, they also patronize Shaivism and Vaishnavism. They have cultural relationship and trade and cultural contacts and relationship with Southeast Asian countries like Burma, Malaya, Java, and Sumatra, and etc. They helped in many ways. They also has close cultural relations in Tibet. So for these relations, the Tibetan Buddhists came to universities of Nalanda and Vikramshila to study about the Buddhism. The trade with Southeast Asia was very profitable and added greatly to the prosperity of Pala Empire and led to the incursion of gold, silver from these countries into Bengal. The powerful Sailendra dynasty, which was Buddhist in faith and which ruled over Malaya, Java, and Sumatra and neighboring islands, sent many embassies to the Pala court and sought permissions to build a monastery at Nalanda and also requested the Pala ruler Devapala. Devapala is the son of Dharmapala and Dharmapala is the son of Gopala who founded Pala kingdom in 750 AD to endow few villagers for its upkeep. The request was granted and the bears testimony to the close relations between the two empires. In Southeast Asia, which dynasty ruled at the time of Pala kingdom? It was Sailendra dynasty. And next we will study about the Pratiharas. The Pratiharas who ruled over Kannauj for long time. In Bihar, it was Palas who basically ruled for a long time, and there was a bone of contention for Bihar between Pratiharas and Palas, but Bihar was in the control of Palas, and Kannauj was controlled by Pratiharas, are also called Gurjara Pratiharas. Most scholars consider that they originated from Gurjaras who were pastoralists and fighters like the Jats. The Pratiharas established a series of principalities in central and eastern Rajasthan. They clashed with Rashtrakuta for the control of Malwa and Gujarat and later for Kannauj, which implied control of Upper Ganga Valley. The Pratiharas who first had their capital at Bhinmal gained prominence under Nagabhatta I, who offered short resistance to the Arab rulers of Sindh who were trying to encroach on Rajasthan, Gujarat, and Punjab, etc. The Arabs made a big thrust towards Gujarat but were decisively defeated by the Chalukyan ruler of Gujarat in 738. Although small Arab incursions continued, the Arabs ceased to be a threat thereafter. So Nagabhatta 1 and Nagabhatta 2 belongs to Pratihara dynasty. The efforts the efforts of the early Pratihara rulers to extend their control over upper Ganga Valley and Malwa were defeated by Rashtrakuta rulers Dhruva and Gopal III. In 790 and again in 806 to 7, the Rashtrakutas defeated Pratiharas and then withdrew to the Deccan, leaving the field free for Palas. Perhaps the main interest of Rashtrakutas was the domination of Malwa and Gujarat. The real founder of Pratihara Empire and the greatest ruler of dynasty was Bhoja. So, who was the real founder of Pratihara kingdom and considered as one of the greatest ruler of this dynasty? It was Bhoja. We do not know much about the early life of Bhoja or when he ascended the throne. He rebuilt the empire and by about 836 AD he had recovered Kannauj, which remained the capital of Pratihara Empire for almost a century. So it was Bhoja who rebuilt this empire and also recovered Kannauj, which remained as their capital. Bhoja tried to extend his sway in the east, but he was defeated and checkmated by the Pala ruler Devapala. He then turned towards the central India and the Deccan and the Gujarat. This led to a revival of the struggle with the Rashtrakuta. In this sanguinary battle, on the bank of the Narmada, Bhoja was able to retain his control over considerable parts of Malwa and some parts of Gujarat, but he could progress no further in the Deccan. So, in the sanguinary battle on the banks of Narmada, Bhoja acquired or retained some of the parts of Malwa and some of the parts of Gujarat, but he did not able to make further progress in the Deccan. Hence, he turned his attention to the north again. According to an inscription, his territories extended to the western side of the river Satluj. According to inscription, his territories extended to the western side of river Satluj. Arab travelers tells us that the Pratihara rulers had the best cavalry in India. So Pratihara rulers had the best cavalry in India. It was Arab travelers tells us that import of horses from the Central Asia and Arabian was a important item of Indian trade at that time. So import of horses were the one of the most important importing item or a trade item at the time of 9th century. Following the death of Devapala and the weakening of Pala Empire, Bhoja also extended his empire in the east. So after the death of Devapala, the Pala kingdom, Pala empire became the weak. So Bhoja got the opportunity to extend his empire in the east. The name of Bhoja is famous in legends. Perhaps the adventures of Bhoja in the early part of his life, his gradual reconquest of his lost empire, and his final recovery of Kannauj struck the imagination of his contemporaries. Bhoja was devotee of Vishnu and adopted the title of Adivaraha. Who is called as Adivaraha? It is one of the most important questions. So it was Bhoja belonged to Pratihara kingdom, which has been found inscribed in some of his coins. He is sometimes called Mihira Bhoja to distinguish him from the Bhoja Paramara of Ujjain who ruled a little later. Bhoja probably died in about 885. He was succeeded by his son Mahendrapala. So there is a Pala, but he did not belong to Pala dynasty. We have to remember that Mahendrapala is a son of Bhoja, belonged to Pratihara Empire. Mahendrapala, who ruled till about 908 to 909, maintained the empire of Bhoja and extended it over Magadha and North Bengal. His inscriptions have also been found in Kathiawar, East Punjab and Awadh. Mahendrapala fought a battle with the king of Kashmir but had to yield to him some of the territories in the Punjab owned by Bhoja. So he was in a battle with the king of Kashmir, but later he has to provide some of his territories owned by Bhoja to the king of Kashmir. The Pratiharas thus dominated North India for over 100 years from the early ninth to the middle of the 10th century. Al-Masudi, the native of Baghdad, who visited Gujarat in 915 to 916, testifies the great power and prestige of Pratihara Lord and the vastness